Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Great to have you here on a very special kind of spine-tingling Monday and start to the week here in New York City. As always, my man Tyrone A. Johnson right over there. Freshly back from Los Angeles, California, where I spent the weekend talking to some really cool, interesting people. You'll hear about that later on. But today is Game 3. NBA Finals. New York City is a buzz. This will be the toughest, I think, of all the wins the Knicks try to get. And when they do win tonight, and they're slight favorites at home, of course, the sweep is on, and the greatest postseason run in basketball history will conclude with the New York Knicks being crowned thwack rightful champions of the NBA and arguably the greatest NBA team of all time. Good morning, Tyrone. How are you today, kid?
Good morning.
Thank you. It's going to be a great week. I'm going to be uber obnoxious all week long.
As you should be.
Because we got tonight at the Garden.
Yep.
We'll get to that in a second. Wednesday night at the Garden. And then it's a wrap. Parade on Friday. Canyon of Heroes.
That quick.
And the city's going bonkers. So bonkers that I actually just bumped into Mitch Modell.
Yeah.
For those of you that heard one of the, for a long time, the number one sports goods store in America, Modell's. They no longer exist.
Yeah, I know, but I used to even get my winter coats from Modell's.
Yes.
All my sports stuff from Modell's.
Modell's was the Dick's before Dick's, right?
That's right.
And obviously had a very special place right here in New York City. A lot of people, New Yorkers, are like, man, moments like this, I miss running to Modell's.
You would line up outside and go in and get to Modell's.
You'd have to run to Modell's
Yeah.
to get whatever championship gear you could get.
That's right.
Iron Eagle, the longtime voice of gotta go to Modell's. Anyhow, it shows you what sports means to a city.
Absolutely.
When I just saw Mitch Modell invited me to a watch party tonight, you as well. I was on the radio this morning on WABC. Sid Rosenberg.
My guy Sid.
Actually said to me, "Who's that black guy you're with? He's funny."
There you go. Shout out to Sid.
So he's a big fan of yours. And everybody and anybody. So let's try to compartmentalize the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the side story that everyone seems to have an opinion on, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know why, but it's a stupid conversation. We'll just have it real quick. President Trump is coming to Game 3 tonight, Madison Square Garden. For those of you that don't know, prior to him becoming president, he was a fixture at Madison Square Garden, at Knick games. You can go back and look at any Knick playoff run from 94 to 99 and beyond, and there's video of Donald Trump before he became president at those games. Mm-hmm. So whether he's a in-the-know basketball fan, probably not. But was he supportive of the Knicks and at the Garden for years before he became president? Yes, he was. It's funny to me how people are now saying what a disservice he's doing to real fans of the Knicks by showing up and making it harder for people to get into the building tonight because of the extra level of security. And then B, these famous now, somewhat infamous even, outside watch parties. The biggest one has been right outside Madison Square Garden, where you're getting, like 5, 6, 7,000 people all congregating to watch the game on jumbotrons, and then party like it's 1999. That party's canceled.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you that there's 3 other parties that the city has set up. There's one in Bryant Park, which will be about 10,000 people. There's one at Brooklyn Bowl, which I'm not sure the capacity there.
I don't know.
And there's a third one I'm blocking on right now. Plenty of places to congregate on the streets of New York City. Plus, every bar that's got a TV on is going to be a quote-unquote New York Knicks watch party.
Yeah.
He's also I didn't realize this, because I would have sworn Obama had gone.
He went after.
Yes.
He went after.
He's the first sitting president to ever attend an NBA Finals game, which you would think somewhere along the line, Bush would have gone, Clinton would have gone, Obama, none of them went, and now he's the first. And I did see some pictures this morning of the extra barriers.
Oh, I was there.
Of security that.
Yeah, Ethan and I
So
went
you guys
out there.
walked past
Yeah,
it?
we walked by it.
That, I guess, surround the building on the 33rd and 7th. So, yes, it is going to take you more time to get into the building. But when you compare that to the fact that there's 18,000 people going to the game and 30 million people watching the game, a very small minority of people are being negatively impacted by the president's appearance at the game.
I can go with that, although to me it is telling that he's the first one.
Which is interesting, right?
And partially, but also I think it's in large part because of the inconvenience. I think some presidents have looked upon and said they did not want to do that to the normal fan. And while you are right, there are other places to go.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, just as a sports fan, I still think what the Knicks, even as a non-Knicks fan, what the Knicks have had going right outside that building, in my personal opinion, has been magical. It's going beyond special.
I'm with you 100%.
And it does stink that gets taken away because, in my opinion, what the Knicks fans have done, forget the team for a moment, which obviously we're going to talk about a lot. What Knicks fans have done this last month, really since April, to me, is some of the best sports fandom I've ever seen. And I hate to see that disrupted in any way because, in my opinion, it's been magical.
It'd be better to have it, obviously.
Just because they've been so great.
Nobody's losing sleep over it. It's a political shot. And I get the country we live in now. That's all it is. It's an opportunity to take another shot at a president you don't like. It's not really negatively impacting anybody. The third place, by the way, just real quick, and thank you, Ryan, is Woolman Rink.
Ethan.
Ethan, you said that?
Ethan said
yeah, Ryan still has done nothing today then. Nice job, Ethan. Which is in Central Park.
Yeah.
So, and that's three disparate parts of New York City.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
So plenty of places to get together to watch the game.
I'd probably go to Bryant Park. I like that area anyway.
But I wouldn't go to any of them. To stand there next to a bunch of people going crazy, I'd rather sit on the couch about 8 feet away from me right here.
Yeah.
At Versa, the rooftop bar that we broadcast from.
That's right.
I'd rather just go right over to that couch, have a pretty girl bring me drinks, and watch the game right there. As opposed to this. Oh, man, sorry, man. Sorry, man. Yo, as opposed to that. Plus, I'm a big celebrity in New York, and if I go to Bryant Park, it disrupts the entire watch party.
I always get a seat at Bryant Park.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
I'd get a seat at Bryant Park.
A seat? There's no seats.
There's seats in this one area.
You're standing.
They set
and
up
you're being shoulder and elbow jockey.
I'm telling you, if the kid goes to Bryant Park, I'm not standing. Okay, I got a nice thing going at Bryant Park. Okay, I'm not standing.
All right, well, now we can get to the basketball part of the show. The Knicks don't know how to lose.
Nope.
And I can't say I've ever seen a team that just doesn't know how to lose. We used to talk about young teams and try to say, teams have to learn how to win. I do believe there's some truth to that.
And
and by the way, I think the
players have gone through it.
I think the Spurs are one of those teams. Very young team. They need to learn how to win. The New York Knicks don't know how to lose.
Yeah.
And we're learning that lesson every game in every imaginable way. Read it now. No, I never know. We got a sponsor. I got to read the sponsor thing.
We love sponsors.
Everybody gets mad. We love sponsors.
Yeah.
By the way, while we're sitting here, there's a major group photograph being taken 10 feet away.
Oh, wow.
That is the Moroccan national soccer team.
That's awesome.
That's how big the Knicks are. That on a day when the Knicks play Game 3.
Because the World Cup's coming up.
The World Cup doesn't start yet. These guys are from Morocco, which we couldn't find on a map. And they're here because the Knicks have captivated the world with their amazing run towards a championship, which might conclude with 15 consecutive wins.
Yes, but they played in a friendly yesterday. They played Norway.
I look like I could take them, to be honest. They're somewhat unimpressive. I think I could take them.
They had a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, that's my point. Yesterday. I think you put me on the pitch, I'm scoring 3 goals myself.
All right.
That's my take.
There you go.
That's my take.
And a lot of
the Moroccan national soccer team.
A lot of people want to lose weight, Craig. You can tell them how to help.
Let me tell you how to lose weight.
That's right.
Everybody's talking about taking injections, but the results are so dramatic. They work by lowering blood sugar, reducing appetite. What if you could lose weight and not have to inject yourself once a week or whatever the deal is with that? Doctors created a weight loss supplement called Lean. The results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to lower your blood sugar, burn fat by converting it into energy, and curb your appetite and cravings so you're not as hungry. Here's my new supply of Lean right here. But listen, it's not for the casual dieter with only a couple pounds to lose. It's for you fat you-know-what. Doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters like Ethan who are 10 or more pounds to lose. He's now 35 pounds down thanks to our friends at Lean. Visit TakeLean.com, enter Carton for the discount. Again, TakeLean.com, get 20% off and free rush shipping when you use my last name at TakeLean.com. Craig Carton, Tyron Johnson here as well. Let's get down to the game itself, all right? Game 3, obviously, tonight. New York Knicks show no matter what lead you have against them, it ain't big enough. And then it comes down to the causal effect of how the Spurs, after coming back from down 14, their own comeback, by the way, where the Knicks looked like they were choking away a 14-point fourth-quarter lead. And then Legacy, your guy, the alien, Wemby. 2 big plays in that game. First, after getting a rebound on a late miss by Jalen Brunson. And it looks like Castle, I've seen the review, the opposite video of it, is asking for the, first he's telling Wemby, chill, slow down. Then he's asking for the ball, but then he recognizes that Wemby's good enough to bring the ball up. So as he starts to turn away, Wemby makes the career mistake, which now will haunt him for life if he never wins a championship.
This is ridiculous.
Of throwing the ball off of Castle's back. Brunson steals it. Wemby fouls him. Game over. But was it over? No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Because Jalen Brunson misses the free throw.
Only makes one.
So the Knicks are up by 1. Wemby gets a good look from about 18 feet.
Didn't love the play.
Brick, da-da-da. House, mighty, let it all hang out. He's a brick, boom, boom. House, your guy, the future face of the league, had back-to-back plays where he cost the Spurs a chance to tie the series at 1 and effectively ended the series by coming back to New York now, down 2-0. I'm not sure historically if any teams ever lost the first 2 at home and then won an NBA Finals.
No, teams have come back from 2-0, but not 2-0 at home.
So when you talk about Wemby, great player, yes. Alien, yes. Future face of the league, yes. Maybe a Hall of Famer, sure. But right now, the legacy that he has to live with is A, he did not make the clutch shot to win game 2, and it's a wide open look. And B, it's his turnover that gives the Knicks the free throws to take the lead with under 10 seconds to go. Lega, C. Wemby, Lega, C. And then today, or yesterday, pardon me, your guy did the unthinkable.
What did he do that was the unthinkable?
And it shows you the problem
what did he do?
With French people, if I may.
I know what he did. I'm trying to figure out when you tell the people.
I'm going to tell the people
what the problem is.
Okay, good. Did. I hope you do know.
Okay, because I know what he did.
When you're the causal reason for choking game 2 by committing the turnover and then missing the wide open J to win it, which would have put you down in the annals as one of the great clutch performers in NBA Finals history. Now you're just another guy that can't make a big shot.
No, he's not.
Yesterday, rather than do the right thing and pretend like you give a damn and be emotional over you're costing them game 2.
No.
Wemby went to a park here in New York City with his sister and decided it was a good day to do some drawing.
It was a good day for that. It was beautiful weather.
Okay? Gorgeous
beautiful
day.
Weather.
That's how seriously he's taking the NBA Finals.
That's the right thing to do.
He should have clammed up, stayed in his room, cried tears, gone to the Garden, taken some shooting practice, learned how to pass the ball,
get away from
and
the
instead he goes out in the public and shows he doesn't give a rat's ass.
Yes, he does.
Despite what he said after winning the Western Conference Finals, that dude can't be bothered with caring enough to try to win game 2.
This is ridiculous.
Or game 3.
This is ridiculous.
That's going to haunt him forever.
No, it's not going to haunt him forever, especially if they win the game. Here's the bottom line, actually.
Hey, Wemby, how'd you spend your time after choking game 2?
He's chilling.
I was painting in the park.
That's what he should do. You get away from the game. First of all, you're talking about being emotional. Jalen Brunson has the emotion of a serial killer. The guy does no emotion.
That's right.
So
that's what you want.
And he shows no emotion. That's the right thing to do.
He shows no care.
He shows no emotion.
Big difference.
No, it's the same thing. Here's the other part.
You see Jalen Brunson painting in the park?
No, because he can't paint. He doesn't have that kind of talent. Okay, he's a shorter basketball player. He doesn't have the artistic talent of a Wemby, a renaissance man that's going to take not only basketball, but sports into the next century. He's the next level. But Mitch Johnson stinks as a coach. I'm going to say it, okay?
It's not Mitch Johnson's fault Wemby threw the ball away.
Yes, it is.
It's not Mitch Johnson's fault Wemby missed the wide open look.
Whoa. Let's use Craig's words, which is usually dangerous for Craig. Okay, Craig says, Wemby looks, and it looks like Castle saying, give me the ball.
The first thing Castle did is this.
Right.
Slow down. Then he goes, pass me the rock.
As soon as it looks like they're not on the same page, and it was in front of the Spurs bench, you get the timeout there.
Yeah.
You advance it, you get the timeout, and you get it settled down. Mitch, once again, coaching like a Mitch, just watching the game.
Yeah.
Okay?
Seems like that's happened a lot against the Knicks this postseason.
Right. And then the other one,
right?
meanwhile, the other Mike Brown coaching his butt off. Then on the last play, you're right, he's open. Can't deny that.
Wide open.
Absolutely. But I didn't like the play. He's 7'5". Get him something going towards the rim.
Well, instead of pick and roll to the basket, he picked and posted.
Right. Well, some of that.
Now, he still gets Joe look because Mitch Robinson gets there late.
Right.
And that's a shot he makes probably, 0 times out of 10.
But it's got to be something going towards the rim because at one point game, the refs are still engaged. You might get a foul.
And the
call
refs,
there.
let's be fair, the referees favored the Spurs in every possible manner in that game.
Right. So get
just,
them going to the basket
agree.
there because you might get fouled.
And just to further support that, the Knicks took 5 free throws.
Yeah.
All right? And 3 of those free throws came on a challenge.
Yep.
So without that challenge in the second half,
It'd have been just
the
the
Knicks
two
would have
Brunson.
attempted 2
Just the
free
Brunson
throws.
two at the end.
The Brunson free throws on the foul by Wemby after the turnover, where he made the first and missed the second one. So the officiating, and the NBA even rescinded the technical foul
from Mitchell
that was
Robinson.
calling Mitchell because, look, if you want to call tech on each side, okay, it's fine. They both pushed each other. Or you want to let it go, fine. But the fact that they called the tech on Mitchell Robinson and no foul or tech at all on Wemby, who with 2 hands pushes him right in front of the ref. Again, I would have done, what do you call that? Double technical?
Double tech, yeah.
And just let it be? But the referees in that game, and Tony Brothers is the worst.
He's terrible.
Clearly swayed towards San Antonio to tie that series up. I don't think that's an edict from the NBA, despite a lot of people out there think. But those referees were certainly favoring the Spurs throughout that game. The other thing about that game I happen to like a lot, it was physical.
It was.
And I would much rather let grown men be grown men than throw a whistle every 5 seconds and stop the kind of the flow of a basketball game. So I did think the refs favored the Spurs in game 2. I did like the fact that they allowed both teams to be very physical. And I prefer that kind of basketball.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Than a whistle, because they could have blown a whistle every possession.
If you wanted to, because it was very physical. On the perimeter, on Brunson, it was physical. Wemby, it's been very physical on him. It's been a very physical series.
The Spurs are now doing something, though, and the national media continues to do something, though, that we're going to get into next, because I'm trying to figure out why nobody's learned anything from the first 3 series. We'll get into it in a second. the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here as well. So it's interesting, the rhetoric from a lot of the Spurs players after Game 2 and in the press conferences, talking about how we let one get away. We feel like we've outplayed the Knicks. We're the better team. You know, we'll be just fine in Game 3. And it's reminiscent of Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland going, we won the analytic battle. We feel like we're the better team. We let one get away.
Not to say.
And then against Philadelphia, we're better than the Knicks. We let one get away.
Sixers never said that.
All of them.
Just
To a
made
man.
that up. Sixers never said
At
that.
Atlanta, the Knicks aren't as good as us. They're a beatable team. We let one get away. And it's like it's at some one
None of
point.
this happened.
And it's happened in every series
Only
this
Atkinson
postseason.
has said something crazy.
And I'm trying to figure out at what point will you guys recognize you're not better than the Knicks. You didn't let one get away. The Knicks took it from you. And I think this Knicks team is the most disrespected championship team in the history of the NBA. When it's all said and done and they're crowned 2026 NBA champions, which they will be. It's done. It's over. You know that. Not that the Spurs are going to roll over and play dead like the Cavs did, but I think it's a wrap. This series now the Knicks are up 2-0. But every team, every press conference, yeah, that's on us. The Knicks didn't do anything special. You know, the Knicks don't do anything that we're not prepared for. And the Sixers did it, and the Cavs did it.
That didn't
and now
happen.
the Spurs are doing it.
It didn't happen.
And I'm trying to figure out why this team is being so disrespected.
They deserve to
They're
be.
the best team in basketball.
Yeah, at this moment, but
They don't
that's
have the
what
best
happens-
singular player,
But that's what
but they're
happens
the
when
best
you
team.
have, relative to a championship team, a very mediocre regular season to set the tone as a 3 seed. That's what happens.
They won 50-plus games
Yeah,
this
that's
year.
not special
That's
for
not
champions.
mediocre.
Yes, it is.
I don't think so.
Amongst champions, Celtics had a better year in the regular season.
Yes.
Pistons had a better regular season.
Yes.
OKC, the Spurs, Denver, they were tied with the person you hate the most in LeBron and the Lakers. They were tied in the regular season.
Yeah.
That's where this all comes from. That's why Mike Brown.
Disrespectful is what
No,
it is,
that's
sir.
why Mike Brown didn't deserve any
Should have been Coach of the Year,
No,
clearly.
he shouldn't have been.
Should have gotten at least
No,
5 or 6
he shouldn't
votes.
have got any votes. They
Yeah.
underachieved in the regular season, if anything, because how are you this dominant and you only won? This is supposed to be a 60-win team that in the regular season, Mike Brown coached to 53.
I'm not sure if the Knicks are ever going to lose again.
They're not going to lose again. Maybe not this year.
It might not be fair to the rest of the NBA going into next year, because now it's next year, and I'm already looking forward. The Knicks have won the championship. It's a wrap.
This could be like the Dallas
it's
championship.
over.
It's good, though. It's
and
going to
I'm
be great.
thinking,
It'd be like the Dallas Mavericks championship.
How many titles
Just one
are they
and
going to
done.
win?
Oh, just one.
They might win 3 or 4.
No, they're going to win one, but this one's really special. Like, and this is
But
where
like
you
when it's all
dilute
said
it.
and done, the Oklahoma City Thunder, not a dynasty. The Mavericks team you talked about, not a dynasty.
Knicks not going to be a dynasty, but that's okay.
The Denver Nuggets, not a dynasty.
dynasty.
The New York Knicks,
Not a dynasty.
I think we're looking at dynasty type
I'd be
stuff.
shocked if they were a
because
dynasty.
they're the best collection of
No, they're not.
players.
No, they're not.
They're the best team.
No, they're not.
Do they have the best player in the league? No, they do not. Is Jalen Brunson underappreciated? Yes, he is. Is Jalen Brunson a bona fide superstar? 100%. And if you didn't believe it going into this postseason, you have to believe it now. And he needs to be talked about in the same breath as SGA,
No, he shouldn't
as
be.
Giannis,
No, he shouldn't be.
as Joker,
No, he shouldn't
as
be.
Luka.
He's not even the MVP of his own team right
He
now.
is. He
no,
is.
he's not.
And
Right now, Finals MVP
Yeah.
is not.
It's Jalen Brunson.
No, it's not.
It's Brunson all day.
It's Carl Anthony Towns.
The steal to
Carl Anthony
steal
Towns. The missed
and
foul
the free
shot.
throw
No.
to solidify
No,
game
stop.
2.
Carl
Jalen
Anthony
Brunson.
Towns is
Yeah.
destroying Wemby right now. No, do not listen to Craig about this. Right now, the Finals
That's been
MVP
good.
right now is Carl Anthony Towns, who, because they've allowed him to play physically, has not gotten into foul trouble, has been extremely physical with Wemby because he's
Yes.
an older, bigger guy, is making big shots, rebounding, playing tremendous defense. The best player on the Knicks so far these first 2 games, despite the narrative about Jalen Brunson, is clearly, by a wide margin, Carl Anthony Towns. And I know the city doesn't love him, and I know you don't love him.
By the way, I do love him.
But-
and the city has fallen back in love with
But
him.
he is the MVP right now.
He's in
not
the
Jalen Brunson.
conversation.
No. If the series continues as is, there is no doubt Carl Anthony Towns is the MVP.
It'll be an interesting vote if it continues the way
because
it's
he's
gone.
hooping
But
at the highest level he's ever.
I agree. It'll be interesting though. Again, I'm not gonna.
Brunson shot 30% in a couple of these games. So he's not shooting
by the way,
the ball well.
I don't care which
This is
Nick gets it. You can give it to Landry Shaman for all I care.
He's been excellent as well.
like the MVP is an irrelevant award to me. It's the Larry O'Brien Trophy that I do care about, and that's winning a championship. I don't care who wins what do we call the MVP trophy? Is it the Michael Jordan Award, I assume? As the greatest basketball player of all time, I believe. Not the LeBron Award, you may have noticed that. In any event, that being said, we could argue who the MVP is.
Not argument.
It doesn't matter as long as the Knicks win a championship. But they are the most disrespected, underappreciated championship team. I think, and I was thinking about this with Ethan on our drive in today because I picked him up. Maybe the most underappreciated champion in the history of all of organized sports, not just basketball.
What?
And I don't think there's a guarantee it's a one-and-done situation.
It definitely is.
I think they run it back, and I think they'll plug and play.
One first.
Like they'll plug and play a bit, but we are watching the start of a great dynasty in the NBA, the likes of which would make the Celtics shudder. Back to the Craig Carton Show with Tyrone Johnson. I'm just watching a video right now of Patrick Ewing and Tracy Morgan giving out tickets to Game 3 for tonight.
Oh, wow.
To a group of, I hate this term, but I'm going to use it because it's how they use it, of underprivileged kids.
Yeah.
Community kids up from the 5 boroughs.
Poor kids.
Poor kids.
That's what
I think the look on these kids' faces when Patrick Ewing hands them the ticket for tonight's game is priceless. The Knicks also did something very interesting. The Knicks auctioned off 2 of I'll just tell you the true story, my tickets. The Knicks reached out to me and said, do you mind if we auction off the 2 tickets you usually get to sit in for all these playoff games to give all the money.
The courtside seat.
Courtside, yeah, on the wood. My seats. My seats, all right? And they auctioned them off for charity. The Garden of Dreams Foundation that helps over 500,000 kids throughout the 5 boroughs. It's one of the great charities here in New York City. So the Knicks, who you know I'm very close with in the Garden, said, hey, look, you've had the privilege of going, which I have. They've been very kind to me. What do you think about we auction your seats off? And I'm like, for charity, I'm all in, 100%. $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, $500,000 a ticket. It was split between a law firm and a hedge fund.
Yep.
And they raised $1 million for the Garden of Dreams Foundation, which is awesome. It's a tax write-off for 2 very wealthy companies, but so what?
Yeah.
Like, there's 2 people sitting there now that just donated $1 million. Now, the prices have started to come down a little bit.
They always do.
So
man.
a $7,000 ticket yesterday is now going for about $4,000. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, they did release tickets that were not for sale yet.
Okay.
Excuse me. Those tickets have a face value of anywhere from $1,900 to $2,400.
Did you see the queue for those tickets?
It was significant.
Yeah,
yes.
to the point where a person screenshotted it. They were 485,000th.
Yes.
In line. There was apparently north of 500,000 people in the queue for those newly released tickets.
And it was a couple hundred tickets. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
you had
go in the lottery,
500,000 people,
right?
right.
So that's the first thing. The second reason is, and I got to make this clear, like, this is not the New York Knicks creating a ticket price situation.
No.
These are people that have tickets, many of them season ticket holders, who now find that they've got a rare opportunity to cash in.
Yeah.
Like, one guy reached out to me, a friend of mine who has 2 season tickets, and he said, I've got a dilemma. I go, what's the dilemma? You're a season ticket holder, diehard Knicks fan. You're going to the game.
Go to the game.
And he goes, yeah, but if I sell my tickets, I pay for my daughter's college tuition. Like, that's a real life problem to have. And he doesn't have the greatest seats. He has good seats for sure.
Yeah.
And those seats cost him about $20,000 a year, which is expensive by 100%.
Absolutely.
Those are expensive. They're not floor level seats, but they're good seats and they're expensive. He can sell those tickets, pay for the entire season if he so chooses, or sell the tickets and his daughter's college is now paid off. So it's an interesting dilemma. You're a diehard Knicks fan. You've waited your entire life, like I have, for this moment right now. Do you go to the game? Because then you can say, as a diehard Knicks fan, I got to be in the building when the Knicks won a championship, or at least for Game 3 of their run towards a championship. Or do you say, honey, go buy the greatest TV they have on the market, an 80-inch TV. We'll take up the entire living room wall with it. But honey gets to go to college, and it's paid for. Like, I'm not quite sure. Now, I got 2 games to choose from. I could go to Game 3 and give up the tickets for Game 4 or vice versa. But what would you do? That's a really interesting kind of life decision there.
See, the tough thing for me is I feel like you have to go to Game 4 no matter what. So I could sell Game 3 hypothetically.
Okay.
Because Game 4 is either the elimination
And you go to Game 4 because you either see them win the championship or possibly play their last game this season, because they could then win it on the road in Game 5. Game 6 would not be guaranteed.
Not guaranteed.
That's got to be the thought, right?
That has to be the thought process.
So put yourself in those shoes. What do you do?
I can sell 3, but I cannot sell 4.
So you would sell your 2 tickets for tonight.
Yes.
You recoup your investment for the entire season, then some, or however you want to choose it. Your daughter, your son,
whatever
now gets to go to college.
Right. And then I take, but I have to be there.
And then you go to Game 4. Game 4 is worth more money than Game 3.
Right, but I have to be there, though. I have to be there for that, because if it's a sweep, if they're up 3-0, and now you can be in the building for the first championship in 53 years, plus the first one you've seen at the Garden, you have to go, in my opinion.
Up into a certain number, no?
Like,
you've got to have a number.
Of course.
So let's just play out the game.
Okay.
By the way, this is happening right now in real time.
Yeah.
You have about, I think there's 15,000 season ticket holders.
That
ballpark,
makes sense.
Right?
Yeah, they're not allowed to sell them all.
Right. So let's use it as the ballpark number.
Yeah.
I might be off by a little bit, but that's a ballpark number. Those people right now are going through this dilemma, and they're putting out outrageous prices, and some of them are being met.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, dude, if I can sell my ticket for $50,000 a seat, like, it's real money.
That's real money.
Now, there's some people that money doesn't mean a damn thing. I get that. I'm not talking about courtside seats.
Spike Lee buys his seats.
Yes.
There's nothing you could do to get those seats away from Spike.
You could give him $1 million a ticket.
And he's going to say that, right.
So it's interesting. Like, if I told you it cost you $20,000 for the year for your 2 seats, and someone said, I'll give you $50,000 right now. So you're plus $30,000 on the year's investment.
For Game 3?
For Game 3.
Easy. I do it. But if
you would have to, wouldn't you?
For Game 4, here's the thing about history like that. I understand what you were saying in the previous segment about a dynasty and all those things, but we know nothing's promised.
And I'm talking out of my ass about a dynasty.
But I'm just saying nothing's promised, right? Especially if you have two and you can bring that kid, that daughter that you mentioned for college with you for that game 4 to see a Knicks win a championship. If you've been a lifelong Knicks fan, to me, I understand there's a price, but that's worth a lot more than money.
$100,000. So now you're 20 back for the cost of the season, and you're up 80,000.
But I gotta be in the building.
$120,000. Now you're a net positive $100K. Cash in your pocket, done in your bank account. It's not like you have to meet a guy in a street corner. The money's yours. Go buy the 80-inch Samsung, put it on the wall tonight before the game. You're good to go. 80 G's in the bank, 100 G's in the bank. $200,000 in the bank.
All right, at that point I have to do it.
Right.
But it's
more than we make in a year.
Right. That's what I mean. So it would be a lot for me in a scenario, though. In that scenario, I could afford the $20,000 tickets. I'm able to buy them.
You've already purchased them,
so
right?
I've done well enough in my life. I'm not missing meals. Like you have to balance.
You
that
don't
part
need
of
to
it.
pay the rent,
right? So when I have that going, to me it's something special about being there for history.
So you'd go.
This is historic. At $200,000, I have to sell it.
$200,000, you're selling it.
I have to.
$100,000, you're considering it.
I'm considering
$50,000, you're going to the game.
I'm going to the game because this means a lot. This history, and I'm not so jaded. Like I've now been doing this a little while, but I'm not so jaded to where I don't think special things still really matter.
They do. Memories versus hard cold cash, though, that's what we're debating here.
Yeah.
Like you have a story either way, right?
Yeah.
If you don't go and you bring in all that money, you're the guy that said no to going to the game in which the Knicks clinch a championship.
Right.
You got to live that down.
Right.
With your buddies for the rest of your life.
And what if Brunson goes for 55 in the game?
So that's the thing where you can't even lie about it because everyone's going to know you didn't go.
You didn't go.
You took the money.
Right.
Now, if you're treating people to a boat ride because you just bought a nice boat, you're like, that's right, I'm the guy. And you call the name of the boat. I missed Game 7.
Yeah.
So something like that.
And I do love a boat.
Right.
I love a boat.
I don't know. I think there's a time in my life where I would have sold it in a second.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, do I have time for a quick story? I used to have 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I had season tickets to the New York Mets. I had a suite. All right. So 2015 Mets go to the World Series against Kansas City. I'd been to a lot of games that year. I was kind of burnt out from going to games. I get offered, somebody makes me an offer. Alex Soros, George Soros' son, makes me an offer for my suite. I go, I don't even know what to charge you. He goes, how about this? I'll send you a check. If the number's not right, you tell me that. You can rip it up when we'll negotiate. If the number's good, you keep it. I got a check that day, messenger to my house, for $100,000. I did not go to Game 5 of the World Series that year because Alex Soros was sitting in my suite and I had $100,000 of his money.
Terrible start last year, injured all the way through, didn't have a chance to win that Major League Baseball season. This year, first team to 20 wins, first team to 30 wins, first team to 40 wins. It's all in the Atlanta Braves. Good baseball club lurking around here.
They still have some guys, some starting pitchers on the shelf there that could help them down the road, but the Braves are sitting pretty right now.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Christopher Sanchez is the right call right now. What am I missing? Why is Shohei Ohtani not right there with him? Well, is it the innings, Donnie? What is it? What am I missing here? Because if he qualifies for the pitching title and he throws a lot of innings and he leads the major leagues in earned run average and even whip, like, well, what am I missing?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day? Here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all 4.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out. Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone Johnson here as well. Obviously, it's hard to talk about anything other than, Game 3 tonight here in New York. I will say this. I did not watch a second of it. I'm not going to speak to it because I can't. But from all accounts, the game was a 3, the Stanley Cup Finals, or 2?
3.
Might be the greatest Stanley Cup Finals game ever played.
Electric as hell. Ethan and I did watch a good chunk of it.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it.
It was...
As I understand it, Vegas had a 4-0 lead.
In a second.
In like 6 minutes, a guy had a hat trick.
Right.
Fast as ever.
Fast as ever.
They blow the 4-0 lead.
Too, had 4 points.
Who did they play? Anaheim?
They played Carolina.
Whatever. Carolina ties at 4-4. They go into double overtime. And then Vegas comes back after blowing a 4-0 lead. And they win. Is it 2-1 now, Vegas?
2-1.
Nobody cares. But if you happen to have turned it on, from by all accounts, you couldn't have turned it off. Is that fair?
It was incredible.
Congratulations, NHL.
4-0. You would have thought you could turn it off, and you absolutely couldn't.
It was that good.
Yeah, because 4-0.
Well, you might have turned it off at 4-0.
You might have.
In the first period, 4-0, right?
But if you did, and you happen to turn back, it wasn't the first period. It went from 4-0 to 4-3 in about 2 minutes.
Oh, is that right? So all the goals came in a flurry on both sides.
But then the tying goal happened with just under 2 minutes left in the third period. So it's 4-3 now for an extended period.
So it came down to
and
really crunch time.
to get to overtime, and then it goes to double overtime.
And then they played a full overtime period.
Yep.
Nobody scored,
and then it double overtime.
How many minutes into the second overtime? Do you guys know top of your head?
I don't remember.
Was it like a lengthy period of time? Or was it relatively quick?
I was tired. I gotta be honest.
Overtime?
I was getting tired by then because it was late.
It's too bad not enough people. It was late in the second period.
It
was late at night.
Like, I'm tired.
When was the game?
It was
Saturday?
Saturday night.
Got it. That's a shame to me because I appreciate playoff hockey.
It's great.
And I'm not a big hockey guy.
It's great.
But you give me a 1-goal game in the playoffs, it's always watchable. And I feel upset that I didn't even know the game was being played.
It was tremendous.
That's kind of like hockey's issue, right? That they have this great sport, obviously this great moment in hockey's history, and I didn't even know the game was on. Yeah. I don't know if that says more about me or more about hockey not letting people know that it exists.
Yeah, it was
I'm not sure.
Into the
so it was quickly into the second overtime. Yeah. 5 minutes into the second overtime. I'll tell you another thing that I watched it.
Yeah.
But hand to God, I stumbled upon it. I was out in LA this weekend, and I had a couple hours to chill. I was there with my son Anthony. So we're in the jacuzzi. I'm drinking pina coladas. And I'm like, let's go back through and just chill before I had to go do a podcast I'm doing. And I'm like, turn on the TV. The Belmont was on. Yeah. I had no idea the Belmont was yesterday.
Cashed?
Yeah. Sorry?
I cashed.
You cashed?
Yeah.
You had Golden Sombrero? Well, Golden Tempo?
Golden Tempo.
Yeah, I hate Golden Tempo.
Golden Tempo.
And I don't like
was not the favorite.
I don't like the
second.
owner. I don't like the female trainer either. I'll tell you why.
It's not her fault.
No.
It's the owner's fault.
Because here's why. Because it needs to be a rule, a mandated rule, that if you win the Kentucky Derby by rule, you have to race in the Preakness. Because I'm not saying the horse would have won the Preakness. I don't know.
May not have.
But I can tell you this. The Belmont became irrelevant because Golden Tempo did not, and that's not the first horse, obviously. This is a horse racing problem. The only thing most late people care about is the Triple Crown. Obviously, horse fans like all the big stakes races.
The Breeders' Cup's the biggest thing for the hardcore fans. The Breeders' Cup.
But the reality is that I didn't care about the Belmont because this dopey horse didn't run the Preakness. Right?
Right. But
you've got to go for the Triple Crown.
But
it's got to be a rule.
If they lost. Well, this is where I'm saying, if you had to miss the second and the third one due to injury, I can live with it.
If the horse has a bad hoof, you put the horse down.
What I didn't like was to announce we're not running the second one to come back for the third one. That to me was bad form. If you just say if the horse is injured, I'm not saying run the injured.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Why? How long does it take to rebuild a horse track? It's dirt.
It's been years.
Like
I
the
think it's
Belmont for the
concourses and stuff.
third straight
It's been
year.
years.
It's the last year. Was at Saratoga.
Yeah.
Which is apparently a beautiful track. I've never
But
been
it's
to.
not the right length.
But it's not Belmont.
Right.
And you can't run the length that the Belmont's supposed
not
to
the
be.
right length.
Which is what's supposed to make it the hardest
Difficult.
race to win because it's like a 9-mile track.
That's why Smarty Jones didn't do it, because he came up short
That's
late.
not why Smarty Jones didn't do it. Smarty Jones didn't win Belmont because Smarty Jones, A, wasn't that terrific a
It
horse.
won the first
B,
two. It did everything you asked it to do.
came from Philadelphia.
It came in second
and
place.
C, was
With
bought
a
for
horse
10 grand.
No, and the horse that won the third one didn't run in the first two at all, and then comes out of nowhere like a fraud.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be allowed
Typical
either.
Philadelphia
That
sports
shouldn't
fan.
be allowed.
Smarty Jones got screwed.
Wait a minute, you just said
Yes.
that you need to do the whole Triple Crown thing.
Yeah.
The horse that beat Smarty Jones didn't run all three.
Because that horse didn't win the first two.
No. Smarty Jones
won
did.
the Derby, won the Preakness, became a huge story.
And that race was long.
Which made the Belmont very watchable.
Yes.
And then did what most Philadelphia teams do. Choke down the stretch.
No, that's right
The
there.
race was too
a
long for him.
hypocritical move.
Yeah.
Where's a flag or something to throw? That's a hypocritical thing to say.
That's Philadelphia.
That horse dug deep.
Yeah.
And Smarty Jones's kids have done quite well.
Have they?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
100% sure.
I got to check into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You should look up a horse from many years ago named son of Smarty Jones that won many
That horse
stakes
didn't win
races.
damn thing.
Won many stakes races, including one at Monmouth Park when I was there.
Nobody races at Monmouth Park for real money.
Yes, they do.
It's
I
like
was
going
there.
to Yonkers Raceway to bet on the Trotters.
No, don't do that.
What are we
Don't
doing?
you act like that's a harness horse. Son of Smarty Jones. One race.
Smarty Jones.
That was his name. Son of Smarty Jones.
Smarty Jones died, didn't it?
Yeah.
Died a very
Wealthy horse.
painful death.
No, I know. I was a pain.
Nah, the problem with the horses is that when a horse has a hurt hoof, you got to put him down.
Not necessarily.
All the time, 100% of the time.
No, it's not true.
It is a true statement.
It's not true.
If you got a bad hoof, we got to put you down.
Not automatically.
I don't want to name names, but I was with a dear friend of mine this weekend who owns a piece of a few horses.
Yeah.
But didn't know that he owned a piece of a few horses.
What's happening?
Yeah, and I think one of the horses was in the Belmont.
Why do you know people with so much money?
I don't know.
So much money. You know people with so much money that's $1 million. Some of these horses.
I don't have
you
no
own
idea.
25%
I
of
have
$1
a
million
lot of friends,
horse.
Tyrone. I have a lot of friends. Some of them are in the horse game, some
and
aren't.
you won't even introduce me to none of them. I need
Correct.
money. I need money.
I need a separation.
I wouldn't ask for any money.
Of course you would. That's why I don't introduce you.
I've never asked anyone for money.
I could see you hanging out, having a drink. You'd be like, by the way, any loose change falls out of your pockets when you get up?
That feels no. I'm not.
I used to have people do that when I used to gamble. Hopefully Craig gets up, a $10,000 chip falls out of his pocket. He don't know. Never happened. to the Craig Carton Show. A few minutes left here. Tyron Johnson here as always. We got to give picks, of course, on tonight's game. The Knicks are small favorites. I think it's 1.5, 2?
1.5.
All right, so 1.5 is the number we'll go with. Obviously, I don't make picks against the spread, but I'll tell you what I think. And Tyron, you get to go first, and we'll see how you do.
Yeah, looking at this, I can no longer pick against the Knicks. I just can't do it. They find ways over and over again. And historically, there's been a reason where they say men win in the NBA, and that whether it's Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, and a lot of other all-time greats, it takes time. We're seeing that this Spurs team finally is too young. Maybe these guys, this same crew of people win a championship in the future, but they're not ready now. I think with the Garden, even though I think it's a close one, I like the Knicks to cover the 1.5 tonight.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said before, I put rules on our picks, right? You weren't allowed to pick the Knicks in 6 because, that's kind of like chalk. Can't pick the Spurs in 7. It's chalk. You have some balls, have a backbone. Pick the Knicks in 5. Or,
I had them in 7. I thought this was a distant series.
I couldn't pick the Knicks in a sweep because I'm a homer, right? And here's the problem with that. I said this on the radio, on Friday before Game 2, and that was the game from like if you're a professional gambler, the Knicks were underdog by 7 points in Game 2. Mm-hmm. That was the game that I would have said historically, you take the Spurs in that game because of what the spread is, right? They were favored by a few points more than they were in Game 1, and they lost Game 1. And on the radio, I said, historically, I would have taken the Spurs in Game 2.
I agree with that.
But I didn't. I took the Knicks. A, because they don't lose, and B, you're giving me a team that doesn't lose with 7 points. Right? Here's the problem. I'm taking the Knicks tonight also. Yeah. Because they've won 13 consecutive games. Yeah. And I think, all fandom aside, you can't find, other than Michael Jordan and maybe a Steph Curry, you can't find a collection of guys, and they were individual players, obviously, that are better at closing out games in the history of the sport than this particular Knicks team. Mm-hmm. They're the best fourth quarter team we may have ever seen.
It's unbelievable.
In the NBA.
It's unbelievable.
All right, whereas Jordan was the best individual. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry is right there. Mm-hmm. As the guy, ice water in his veins, you need a big shot, close game. I know that guy's going to make it. Mm-hmm. It's Mikal Bridges. It's Brunson. It's OG.
Hart with 3 steals or something.
It's Shabbat.
Offensive rebound, right.
I've never seen a team that just doesn't know how to lose.
That's unbelievable.
So again, I think this will be the toughest game in the series.
I agree.
And yet I have to pick the Knicks to win it.
You have no choice.
Because that's all they do is win, right?
Right. And tremendous credit to Mike Brown. Again, I know he's been getting credit finally. Tremendous credit to him. There seems to be no ego as far as the roles when they come into games. All right, all of a sudden, Alvarado comes in the game. He's got a green light. Many times, bench players say, "Nah, get it to Cat." No, Alvarado coms in.
And remember this: bench players play better at home.
They do.
So as great as Sham and Alvarado have been, and they've been great, and Mitchell Robinson's been great. They're better at home than they are on the road. Right. I just think it's an impossible task for San Antonio, and I think that's why Wemby was painting in the park yesterday, because he knows it's already a wrap.
I think it was
a guy that thought
stay calm.
A guy that thinks it's not a wrap is in the lab working on his game. A guy that knows it's over is painting in Bryant Park with his sister, knowing he's being filmed while he does it.
This is making me want to almost change my pick.
Yeah.
Because I like that Wemby was relaxed.
Yeah, relaxed.
The key thing is you do have to get away from the sport because it's
not during
job.
The finals.
Yes, you do.
Mamba mentality. May Kobe live forever.
Kobe.
Mamba forever.
Yeah. Kobe
wasn't painting in the park.
Yes, he did. That's because he couldn't paint. You know what he was doing?
What?
He was out there talking Italian to people.
No, not during the finals. He wasn't.
Yes, he was doing that during the finals.
I want to leave you with one non-basketball thing.
Yeah.
I discovered arguably the most beautiful woman on the planet, and I'm hoping it's not AI, but I think it might be. And I'm concerned about that.
Okay.
Can you guys show me her picture? She's at a Toronto Blue Jay baseball game.
I think she's AI.
Please tell me that's not AI. The most piercing eyes I've ever seen. And she knows, look at that. It's almost like she's an X-Men. Yes. Right? Yes. That was the first thing I thought. That crazy scientist found another one. But is that AI, Tyrone?
I think so.
Can somebody please get to the bottom of this? Because if it's AI, I wasted a couple tissues on something that ain't real. And I haven't done that since I was in high school.
What it says online
is
that they took a Caucasian woman.
Who's that, Miranda Kerr?
No, just a pretty
just a beautiful Caucasian gal.
And they made her.
And they made her look like an X-Man.
Yeah.
Well, more of that, please.
Yeah.
Yes. I can tell my
listen.
wife. Oh, that's probably offensive if my wife does it, but because she's not an X-Men.
Yeah, you can't have her dress like that.
Also
You
can't leave the house
you
like
can't-
that.
Yeah, you can't have her doing that.
That might be objectionable.
She won't be safe. Okay? You won't be safe around New Jersey. And what are you trying to do to your career after all you've been through? This is the thing that undoes you.
Look
Is
what-
your wife
the
doing
headline.
that?
Look what Craig makes his wife do.
Oh my God! They'll be like, I forgave everything else. What is he doing this time? This crazy guy. Like you can't go near it. You can't go near it. Oh, that'd be messed up.
I think Spike Lee made a movie about it a long time ago. As a matter of fact. Have yourselves a great day. Go Knicks tomorrow. We'll talk about Game 3 of the Knicks pending championship. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Terrible start last year, injured all the way through, didn't have a chance to win that Major League Baseball season. This year, first team to 20 wins, first team to 30 wins, first team to 40 wins. It's all in the Atlanta Braves. The baseball club lurking around here.
They still have some guys, some starting pitchers on the shelf there that could help them down the road, but the Braves are sitting pretty right now.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Christopher Sanchez is the right call right now. What am I missing? Why is Shohei Ohtani not right there with him? Well, is it the innings, Donnie? What is it? What am I missing here? Because if he qualifies for the pitching title and he throws a lot of innings and he leads the major leagues in earned run average and even whip, like, well, what am I missing?
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Hey there, it's your buddy Craig Carton. If you're trying to find out how to get all the great content that me and Tyrone Johnson give you every single day, here's Tyrone to tell you how.
You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, Amazon Music as well. We're at all four.
That's right. It's the Craig Carton Show podcast every weekday morning live at 11, replayed at noon on YouTube and on SportsGrid throughout the country. Check it out.